Can you hear me now? Yes. Good. Okay. My contribution to this book is very modest. Because of my ill health, I have not been able to write too much. It comprised mainly of a statement which I made when I was in prison in 1972 after 9 years of incarceration. As you know, I was detained in a closed-door operation on February 2nd, 1963, and I was the last one to come out from that batch of detainees, almost 20 years later. Now, this statement mainly stated my stand on my detention. After 9 years of incarceration, they wanted me to issue a statement to firstly support the so-called democratic system in Singapore, and secondly to renounce politics. I told them that these two demands are contradictory, self-contradictory. Because if there is voluntary democracy, then I don't have to give up politics. So we said we must say something to show repentance. Otherwise, Lee Kuan Yew will lose face. I think it's not a question of pride, it's a question of principle. In the first place, the person has to save his face by depriving somebody else of his fundamental rights, then that's not a face that's worth saving. So, to me, democratic rights is a fundamental constitutional right of the people of Singapore. And no one should be deprived of their right and held to ransom to extort statements of repentance and recantation. So the whole thing brought down to having to issue a statement of repentance, which I refused. Subsequently, I was detained for another over 10 years after that statement was issued. So a total of 19 years and 8 months, longer than a life sentence. Life sentence will be reduced after 13 years after the usual one-trip initial. So for no charge, no trial, I was detained for longer than life sentence. A lot of hullabaloo has been said recently on the right of political detainees to appeal to an advisory board. I want to tell you my experience about this advisory board. After about 1 year of detention, I was asked to go to the prison main gate at about 4 p.m. I was given a notice to say that I had to appear before the advisory board the next day. I was given a full-step paper of so-called charge sheets. I said I want to keep this sheet of paper so I prepare for my next morning's appearance. He said, no, you cannot keep it, you just read it and you take it. I said, I'm informed my lawyer about this. He said, no, because I have to inform my lawyer, but we cannot direction for you now. I said, in that case, how do I contact my lawyer? He said, that's the law. So the next morning, I was called to the High Court with handcuffs and all that, and I appeared before the advisory board comprising of 3 persons, a judge called Judge Lim Hock Siew and 2 other persons. One is a certain Elias, and I think is a lawyer, and another Chinese gentleman, whose name I cannot remember. So on this so-called charge sheet, there are a lot of blank spaces. I asked Judge Winslow what does this blank spaces mean. He said, oh, these are charges which are so sensitive that they are shown only to the advisory board and not to you. I said, what the hell can anybody defend himself against a charge that's not able to do to him? I've asked him for advice. He just said, okay. I said, is this a mockery of a judgment or what? He said, this is the law. I said, the whole thing is a judicial farce. I mean, it's incredible that anyone has to face this kind of mockery, this kind of so-called justice. And the fact that a High Court judge is being put as the chairman of this advisory board gives the public an illusion that there is judgment, there is justice. And I told him that if I were a High Court judge, I would not lend credence to this mockery by my presence. Then this Elias threatened me with contempt of court. I was very happy when he threatened me with contempt of court, because after all I was already in prison, and transferring from one prison to another. By the way, in my 20 years in prison, I was in practically all the prisons in Singapore, except, of course, the female prison. And then the judge says, no, let the doctor have his say. There's no question of contempt of court. So I gave a 3-hour statement to debunk all the so-called charges. One of the charges was in fact a false charge. He was charged for being one of the 8 father students who were charged for this sedition. And so as a matter of fact, I didn't have the privilege to be one of the 8. In fact, I would feel flattered to be one of the 8. And that I was not one of the 8. And so why should I be taken allegedly to be one of the 8 when these 8 were acquitted without the case being called, and acquitted and defended by Lim Hock Siew himself, who is now detaining me? And it is the law. Everything is the law. So recently we have heard all this so-called rule of law. Now there is a detention without trial under ISA, a law which makes mockery of the concept of rule of law. The rule is a law that is outside the rule of law. Once you are detained under the ISA, you have no legal defense whatsoever. I tried the habeas corpus twice. On one occasion I succeeded for a technical error on the side of the government. They did not sign my detention order. It was supposed to be signed by a minister, but it was dedicated to a civil servant. So on that account, the court has to release me on a technical point. So when I was released, there was a special branch waiting for me outside the Queenstown prison. I was re-arrested 1 minute later. It's a mock release. And for that habeas corpus, I was punished by being sent to the most hideous of all detention centers, the Central Police Station headquarters. That was a place that is not fit to keep human beings, animals, let alone human beings. The place was so dark, so stingy, and so ill-ventilated that you cannot stand inside for more than 24 hours. But I was locked in there for 24 hours a day. And the whole place was infested with bugs. I had a lot of bugs for company. There was no reading material. The lights were so dim that I could hardly see the crease on my hand. So immediately the 5 of us went on hunger strike.